Welcome to the Hall of Fame Club podcast, now with Season 2 flavoring. Still your local source for the 2025 Philly season. And now your hosts, Chris, JV, and Keith.
Good evening, everybody. It's Thursday, March 20th, 2025. Welcome to the last episode of the Hall of Fame Club podcast. This winter, that's right, tomorrow, hope springs eternal. Flowers start to bloom, and animals get randy. Tonight, the boys are joined by a very special guest. This guy has almost 5,000 subscribers with over 1 million total views on YouTube. He does play-by-play of Phillies, Sixers, and Eagles games on his channel at PBP with JJ. Please welcome Jason Joseph.
Thank you very much.
How you doing today?
I appreciate that. I like that.
I will fully admit I am a JJ holic. I am not in remission because I am proudly drinking all day from the JJF cup. Ooh, what? Anyway, I am a part of the community. I have been for a quite.
I'm drinking the garage beer.
Yeah, boy.
Garage beer. Oh my gosh.
You always drink water. Do you ever drink anything else, JJ? That's just always water.
Question. I do have. Sometimes I do like to bring Starbucks onto this. I do, especially the other day. I felt a little bit like I needed to get the juices flowing a little bit, so we had to go with the mocha frappe. We did. That was like sort of a treat. I was like, you know what?
You went 13 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just Wawa. That was
13
Wawa.
hours is just getting your Starbucks order in.
That's
So for context, JJ does run a very successful play-by-play YouTube channel. It is play-by-play with JJ, PBP with JJ. It is a fantastic community of people who either can't get they're out on the road. Maybe they can't get they don't have the Apple TV. They don't have this. They don't have that. They live in, a blackout area. They live in Arizona. It's not being covered. We have fans all over the place for you, JJ. Very welcoming community. You do color and play-by-play. You can't fit all of that, I guess, in a title. But yeah. You do both of those tasks. You do fan interact. It is a one-man show. You do fan interaction. You are writing book for the Phillies or the Sixers or for the Eagles. You are doing all of those events. What is that process like getting ready for either every show? And how do you keep track of sometimes 3 different sports, 2 different sports at any given time like that?
Well, first and foremost, I'm humbled to be here. I really am. Like, thank you for having me on. I've seen the work that you guys have put into this channel. It's really awesome. It's incredible. And in regards to just what I do, I come from a theater background, and I think that from a performing side of things, I love being on camera, and I like being able to just talk about sports. I've kind of realized that from more so of like a younger age, but when it comes to just doing this, I just getting prepared and everything. I have so much fun with it. I'm lucky because I have some monitors around, and I'm able to try to describe the game the best that I can. But the whole preparation thing, I think, is the most fun about the whole entire process.
So take us through that. What's your prep look like for? Let's go. We're on a Phillies podcast, so oblige us, please. Let's stick to the Philly. And I think that was your bread and butter anyway, right? It's kind of like what kicked this whole thing off. And
sure.
If you are listening, he's on the road to 5K, y'all. We have the links in the show. We have them, I believe, on Facebook. If not, Chris is doing that right now for me, putting your YouTube link up there. No offense. I know you wanted to do it live, but I want to do it live on our show and push you to 5K while that's happening. So I'm going to constantly be refreshing the show, and I want to, like, every 10 minutes, we're going to just remind people, if you haven't subscribed to JJ's YouTube channel, please do so. If you are interested in any type of Phillies sporting content, it's really good. So, sorry, I know you wanted to go for that, but if can have any power of getting you closer to you doing it, or us doing it here live and going, we got you.
Like I said, I'm humbled.
Awesome. So take us through a show prep for the Phillies. Like, it sounds like you're kind of juggling, Tom McCarthy's position, Kruk's position, Tom, no, what's his name?
Scott Francis.
Corey Seidman's position. Yeah. The guy who does like the beat stuff for the team. So how do you prep? How does that even work for you?
All right. So first of all, I got myself a sports score book. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. They're called Covey Sports. And so what I do is, for every game when they post the starting lineups and everything, I still keep score by hand, and I do it like my own way. This is like a new score, but let me go to, I don't know. Oh, this one's a new book. Okay, but anyhow, so I like to keep score over here. So what I'll do is I have like a multicolored pen that's right over here. And so I'll do like the Phillies like in red, I'll do their opponents in blue, and then positions in green and all those types of things. And I like to do it my own way. And on the very bottom, I put umpires. And so I like to be able to have that sort of prep just before the game, because I think that preparation, I've always learned, is always key to whatever you do. So I've noticed that, not even just from streaming, but whenever I'm doing broadcasts in person, if I'm not prepared, if I don't have my notes or anything like that, then it's not going to be as entertaining of a cast. And so I also feel like too, that when I'm doing a game now on YouTube or even on Twitch, that it's a different medium. So you're trying to get the storylines, you're trying to keep up to date with what's going on during the game, but it's also an interaction type of a platform as well. So you're trying to make the audience members a part of the story, as well as you're painting the picture for the players and all the other aspects of it too. That's like the best way that I could explain it. But in regards to like the other prep stuff, I also have like 4 monitors as well. And I have Twitter up on my phone, and I keep up with all the news that's going on. And so it's a lot of eyes in different spots, and you're not just looking in one area, and there's no director that's whispering in your ear. You're sort of just running the show all by yourself, and you got to figure out, well, how do we get from point A to point Z, and then in between, and just wiggle right through it.
It's a crazy amount. Like, I know that to kind of pull curtains behind and things like that.
Plus, we're playing sound effects as well, and
he's
like all that.
He's got the bell going in the background. The best I can give you is a. You know what I'm saying? But you do. So that's
and that's actually live.
Yeah, it's live.
Oops, I crapped my pants. I think that is like, it's crazy enough that you are doing something that is a play-by-play. You are playing to the camera, and then you have the cheat sheet, right? Like, kind of like, because you got your book going, which is like, that's a job within itself. Like, that's a manager's job during a game. You're interacting with the audience. You're reading their comments on the screen. You're taking their analysis. You're getting rid of trolls, right? You have three. I think I've been in some where you've had over 500 live viewers at once. Okay,
Yep,
your mod team, I'm sure, is excellent people.
absolutely.
That being said, you got this. How do you pay attention to the fact that you are watching a baseball game in real time and you are still trying to entertain with color, right? Like how does your brain separate the two? I'm going to call this as like a play here. Oh, I'm going to call this as a analytic thing.
Sometimes you got to pick and you got to choose your battles. I've learned like over the years and just from experience doing this as well. When you're doing things on the radio, right? It's a different medium. You're the eyes, you're the ears, you're the soundtrack, and you don't have an audience per se. But like when you're on TV, it's a director's medium. So there's a whole production group of people that are all behind the scenes that are even just talking to you, and you have to continue to talk as they're talking. And then you got to look at monitors. And so every single medium has its challenge, but when it comes to just doing the games on stream and figuring out how to navigate the whole way through it, sometimes I'm just still learning because this whole field is new. This whole side of doing play by play on YouTube and in the streaming sphere is really relatively new. And so I think that early on, it's totally okay to just be able to make mistakes because that's how you grow. And so I've been more so okay with just the fact that, all right, sometimes I got to throw something at the wall, see what sticks. And then if it fails, it fails. But if it succeeds, great.
That's
So-
my entire comedy. That's all I got for comedy. I just throw it.
Yep.
Usually it fails, but I throw it all.
Usually,
Yeah,
usually.
that 99% of the time.
What was your first play-by-play?
My first, my first college radio play-by, or my first college play-by-play,
No,
Or, like,
your
my
first on YouTube.
I was in a suit. I did Golden State Warriors versus Philadelphia 76ers.
I remember
And-
that, man. I remember those days.
It was just me on my screen with me in a suit, and
The shittiest graphics
was
you had ever
terrible.
seen whipped together. I mean, it was just God. The production looked like remember shit you used to do on Windows Paint when you first got a computer and you open it, you're like, oh, what's this program? You're like,
Yep.
yeah.
But like as you grow and as you put more time into something, through trial and error, then things start to enhance, and then you put a little bit more money into something, and then you just continue to do it, and you just gotta continue to stick with it, and eventually you will see results. And so that's sort of been my whole mindset as I've been going through this whole entire thing, is that it doesn't matter like what I do. I know that consistency is just so key when it comes to just doing this. And even for example, yesterday, just being able to do like all those streams, I keep my word when it comes to a lot of things. And if I'm wrong or if I ever make a mistake, I always admit to it. But then I keep moving on to the next thing. And I always find that challenge to be very fun, if that makes sense.
What was the longest game you ever did?
The longest game I ever did, I think the longest game that I ever did was probably I'd say that it was last year. We had like a 2-hour rain delay, I think it was, or maybe it was. Oh yes, okay, yeah, it was. I had to figure out what to do during the rain delay, and it actually just so happened that that the NBA Finals was on. So I was like, all right, I don't want to take a break. Like, let's just do an NBA. Let's just do the rest of the NBA Finals game. And it was so funny because at the end of the Finals game, after it was done, the Phillies game started right back up. It wasn't scripted, nothing like that. And it was
Does that
really
count?
weird.
Does that count as that's like when the games stick together? That counts as one game, right?
That counts as one game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that counts as one game. That's officially
Yeah.
one long game.
that was.
I took my boys to to a Phillies game on a Sunday. Also, just happened to be the season opener for the Eagles, and they were away. And so, all right, cool. It just was like coincidence. I watched the Eagles game at the Phillies game on my phone. And it was not going to be a bit. It was like just planned, and we go into rain delay like in the first inning for like 4.5 hours, and they put on the jumbotron the Eagles opener, and we watched that for 4 hours. My kids meet John Kruk and Larry LA in the booth. Like they throw them gifts down. They're like, yeah, come on over, and they threw them stuff down. And then the game, and then 30 minutes later, they rolled the tarp off, and we were watching a baseball game. It was like a 9-hour ordeal at that watching everything, but my kids had the time of their life.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the Eagles open up the season against the Patriots.
Yeah,
It's those types of moments that are just absolutely unforgettable. And that's why when I even talk to people and I tell them what it's like being a sports fan, a lot of the memories that come up for me, and I'm sure that this is how it is for a lot of people, including yourselves, is when you were really young. And to be able to have an experience like that, where you're just at the ballpark and there's a lot of sort of bizarre things that are going on, like a rain delay, and then being able to just so happens it's on Eagles opening day, like those types of things you'll always remember. I'll always remember too, for me personally, just being able to like go onto the field, and just being able to meet Ryan Howard and having my dad meet Brad Lidge, like all that stuff was just so cool. And
what was your first time on the field? Everyone remembers. Everyone here remembers the first time they stepped onto a baseball field. So let's share that. Let's do a little nice round robin on that one. Oh Jesus, no! I apologize for that, gentlemen. That was not necessary for anyone.
It was like we were getting lined up for like one of us committed a crime.
It was like the lineup scene from The Usual Suspects. Yeah.
Kaiser Soze.
So JJ, guess first. When was the first time you stepped on? Are we going to go? Does it matter any stadium, or do we want to talk about Link or the Citizens Bank? I mean.
my first professional stadium was Citizens Bank Park. That's
I
what
keep forgetting
remember.
you're like 26, man.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Yeah,
It's-
you call baseball like an old soul, and that's what I think I love about you. And it's you definitely have a respect for the game, even though I may call robo umps every single pitch.
Run,
Run,
baby.
robo umps now.
No,
JV shaking his
no.
And it was making Jerry. So JJ, just to kind of like catch you up to speed here, what's making JV particularly mad about the robo ump system in spring training and being used so well and effectively, he didn't think that would be possible by now. He was like, "Oh, we're years off. It's not that big of a deal. Keep umps in the game. It's pure, blah blah blah." And so he wasn't very worried about robo umps because he's like, "That shit's in the future." Well, the future's now, motherfucker.
Still, if anything, it showed you how hard that job really is, how close some of these are, and the ones that just barely nick the strike zone. Now you got to get it. You're trying to get it right, and like, so if anything, it's hurting the game. It's hurting these guys. I don't like it. It's just the game. The game's supposed to be hard, and now you got a computer making it easy. No, it's not the way it goes. And these guys,
What a way
really
to
do
miss the
expect-
point. What a way! It's making the game easy. Yes, because now we have a quick check-in. I can now instantly hit a 95-mile-an-hour and about fastball. What are you? What Earth do you live on where suddenly a robot can go like, "Hey, human, you got that wrong. We just made this game infinitely easier."
You've seen iRobot. You've seen iRobot. That's where it's going. This is the start of it.
I, for one, if our robot overlords are checking archival data, I, for one, support our robot overlords. Okay, I am always polite to Alexa, to Google. I will never cancel Alexa. I apologize. No, baby. No, I love you too. Okay, we have a very respectful relationship, and
Yeah, you know what? It's so respectful.
Yeah.
He tells Alexa, turn his light on and off. I'm like, light off. You know, he tells it what to do. I don't do
You know
that.
who else told people what to do?
oh
No.
Oh boy.
It's the start. It's the start of it's iRobot.
I know I hit the R. I know I hit the hard R the other night, but you can't go there.
The doctor had a respectful relationship with his robot, and
Here's my point. It's inevitable. It is making the game tighter. It is concise. I love the pitch clock. All the upgrades over these last few years have been on the money.
Yep.
JJ, do you have I feel like obviously let's be honest, technology has only made your job extremely more easier, right? That's made your job easier. I don't know about guy hitting 95 miles an hour easier, but it's made your job as a broadcaster easier. My job as a viewer easier to have this new era of statistics. What do you say?
Yes. So it's definitely made, from a media perspective, it has made things a lot easier for sure. I mean, we all consume media when it comes to the Twitter, and when it comes to what the people covering the teams have said in regards to just metrics and all these types of things. It really has made, I think, more fans of the game. And even though sometimes we may look at this and we may say that attendance has gone down or attendance has gone up, I think that overall, sports in general has really impacted, or has been positively impacted from technology, from just a lot of perspectives overall. And even with the new rule changes, as you were talking about, I'll be one to tell you, I was actually wrong about the pitch clock. And I got to see it in the minors when I was doing minor league games for the Wilmington Blue Rocks. And they were implementing it during that 2019 and during the 2020 season. I had to think about it for a second, but yeah.
Did they implement it in the bubble?
2021, I meant. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right at the year after, right? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, or not the bubble, but the year after the no fans, right? Okay.
Yes. 2021. But yeah, I got to see the pitch clock, and I really, as soon as I got to see it, I thought, this thing might actually really change the way that the game is consumed. And even to this day, I'm still shocked that I saw like a 2-hour, 40-minute game, and I'm like, after all these years,
that's a long game.
Games, yeah.
See, my issue wasn't so much about the pitch clock and trying to keep a momentum of the game going. My issue was how Major League Baseball was trying to sell it to me, that it's going to make the game shorter. It's going to make the games go faster, that, football has a clock and people enjoy that game. I think it was 2022 or 23. I forget which one when I saw the number. Major League Baseball games averaged 15 minutes less than the average NFL game. So I'm like, stop trying to sell me that garbage. I get that you want to keep a flow of the game going, and I agree that it would do that, but don't tell me that it's going to make the game that much faster and compete with the NFL, where it was already faster than an average game, and those had clocks on them. So the game shouldn't take more than 2 hours, but they take 3 hours. So
now,
what baseball needed to do, let's be realistic, they needed to change the start times. There's no reason for a 7:15 or 7:05 start time. 6:30 is a perfect start time. There's no reason for an 8 o'clock game on a World Series. There's no reason for it. It's just it's stupid, and I've said it for years, and it sucks. Like, listen, I like baseball. You know, when I get into my bitter Nancy self because the Phillies get eliminated in the playoffs, I don't watch the World Series unless it's a Game 7. I'm not like I hold grudges, and I just like do that. Like start the games earlier than they need to be. And as far as the robo umps, it is what it is. You want to, for me, I've been saying it for years in the group chat. Take the box off the TV. Take the box off the TV, and you won't have everybody and their mother going, "That was a strike." I understand it looks like a strike on TV. It's a strike today, but it's a ball tomorrow. It's just how baseball is. It's the movement on pitches and everything else. Like if you had the box, how good of a career would Greg Maddux have?
Listen, that's part of the StatCast era. Okay, it has provided us with a lot of analytics. It has transformed the game. They are pure athletes now. The era of a guy who used to be able to have 4 cigars, before dinner, a steak dinner, go out on the town, booze up, be blackout drunk, and show up the next day at the stadium and just wave a bat around and get a hit is not. The eephus pitch doesn't exist anymore. They're bullets now. They are bullets coming out of guns. At this point, the game has changed. We can't see half of it. Everyone from across the street could sit on their roof and see the goddamn games.
And how many pitchers are getting Tommy John surgery because they're throwing 95, 96?
Yeah, I mean,
at 14 years
Tommy
old,
John surgery.
Right now, but that also okay. Yes, and guys have learned. Oops, we went too fast. They are coming down to more of a 91. The sweeper is just a little bit different. It's a little bit gentler. Okay, listen, things are changing where the guys are sticking to just 3 to 4 pitches now. That is coming down. All of that pitch count things are coming down. Velocity is coming down. Sticky stuff isn't there anymore. Let's guys, be realistic about the game at least.
But you're wrong about it coming down because I see it in youth baseball. All they talk about is velo and getting these kids throwing harder. These kids are going to tear their arms up. And one of the most celebrated pitchers last year.
You step up and you say something.
Paul Skeens.
You're an adult. You're
Agreed.
an adult, and you don't let these coaches do this to these kids.
But it's not just that. It's parents that are involved in doing it, and they see guys like Paul Skeens, and I'm a Pirates fan, a guy like Paul Skeens throwing hundreds of miles an hour on almost every pitch, and he's one of the most celebrated pitchers in there.
He's a freak, though.
I'm a Nolan Ryan fan, who was one of the hardest pitchers ever.
Sure.
And I still try to fight it. Like, you see these guys get celebrated for their speed, so it's not coming down. Like, people still try to argue that Greg Maddux wasn't a great pitcher.
Who?
There's a lot of these younger dumb kids. Don't get me wrong. It's this new generation of kids.
Well, Gen Z
but
is
they're
just
calling
Gen Z.
Yeah. But like they still,
I'm a part of Gen Z,
they're
so,
still loving these guys that can throw on an average of 97 miles an hour.
I didn't want to get off the beaten path, but Tommy John's happening because you're having 12-year-olds learn 4 pitches, and that is wrong with development, right? 2 pitches, right? 30 pitches, an inning won't tear them up if they're being consistent with the same type of pitch. Now, velo chasing is bad. Velo in the MLB is coming down. It has come down over the past season. If you don't believe me, just go to the stats. I don't care if you believe me. They are getting serious about the TJ surgeries. They should be. It's ruining talent. It doesn't change the fact that guys can still throw 85, 90. The human eyes can't really track that stuff. StatCast is still necessary at those speeds. 70 is nothing to balk at.
How old is Dr. James Andrews? I feel like he has to be, like, he's been doing this for a while.
Then,
So,
Tommy
hold
John
on.
himself just passed away or something?
I
He
think
was
so.
just in the news
Yes.
recently.
He did. So let's see.
Hold on. Hunter Green.
82 years old, that guy. Jesus
Hun-
Christ.
82?
Hunter Green threw 39 pitches in a game, 100 miles an hour or more. The previous record was set by Jacob deGrom, who threw 33. I'm pretty sure Jacob deGrom's career has gone. Velocity is not going down. It's not going down.
You just gave me one dude. One dude.
I mean,
It's hard because I also feel like NIL has really played a factor too,
Mm-hmm.
and also just money in general. One thing that I've learned about the whole business side of this is that money does talk, and with where these kids are getting their money from, especially when it comes to pitching in high school, is by how fast they throw. In the NBA, types of shots that you're going to put up, 3-pointers. It's just analytics have really changed the game, and part of it has really just been because of just the money, whether that's right or wrong. And that was the one thing, tying it back together with the pitch clock, that I was a little bit nervous about was, were more players going to get injured? Because not only now are we praising them for how fast they throw, but are they going to have to throw another pitch that's 100 miles per hour within the next 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds? And that's probably not good for their arm either. And I was worried about that. That was one of the actual concerns that I had about it.
yeah.
We got Scott from your community checking in down in the chat. Let's see. Hot Rat says today's younger generation and the next ones will think it was crazy that humans ever called the zones.
Yeah, I mean, like perfect example is Carlos Estevez last year. He's throwing 100 miles an hour all season for the Angels, and comes to the Phillies. Then it comes to the NLDS, and he just doesn't have it anymore because baseball is a long 162 game season.
Yep.
Where you have the opportunity to play 180 games, and it just he's now throwing meatballs to whoever the second baseman for the Mets is. I can't think. I'm coming.
Jeff McNeil.
No,
Or was
the
it?
other guy, the shortstop, maybe whoever hit the grand slam.
That was Hoffman. That was Hoffman who gave that up. That was still.
Oh, well,
Lindor.
there was another one, Jeff Hoffman.
Yeah.
He was throwing 99 and 102, and he,
Yep.
his arm went. Like
I don't think his arm went. I think he changed his velo, his attack.
so.
He changed it. Well, he just changed what
He was injured. He was injured from throwing so hard. It
Uh-huh.
came out that he was injured.
Matt
Stop
Strahm was
throwing.
Matt
Look,
Strahm was injured.
Matt Strahm was injured too. Look at someone like Chris Wheeler who can throw 96, 97, but he'll hit you with an 80 mile an hour whatever. Like a couple years, like a year ago. I want to say maybe it was last year or it was the year before. We were watching the Phillies game, and I want to say it was either on Fox or it was on ESPN, and whoever was pitching, they had changeups in at 95 miles an hour. That's changeup. A changeup is never 95 miles an hour. That means if your changeup's 95, your fastball's 105. That's what it comes out looking like a ball, and it's a changeup, and it's 95 miles an hour. I wish I could pull up. I got a new phone, so I lost all my chats from WhatsApp. I wish I could pull up, because I think me and you, Keith, talking like that. That's ridiculous. They were calling a changeup at 90 miles an hour. No. So, but back to what I said before we got into the injury talk. You want to make everyone happy. I mean, I've been saying it for years. Take the box away. You don't want robo umps, then you got to take the box away. If you want robo umps, then you keep the box. You can't have it both.
So this is just so you guys know, from 23 to 24, statistically speaking, 75% of the pitchers in the league stayed the same or dropped their velo from the year before.
Wow.
The top 81 pitchers, or not just the top 81 pitchers, but 81 pitchers in the league either increased by 0.1% or more, with the top change of velo heading out at a whopping Well, this kind of makes sense because he came off of the injury from the year before, which was Kyle Freeland, who increased his. So Michael Kopech, he invaded Christopher Sanchez upped his velocity, which also makes sense because he came out like a goddamn beast last year.
But he also has a ridiculous changeup. It's not the only pitch he's throwing.
Yep.
Another
True.
person that you want to bring it up. Look at Matt Harvey. Matt Harvey wasn't hittable because he was throwing fastballs. After the 2015 World Series, he got hurt because of his arm, and then he looked like me pitching. The ERA of whatever a hot dog, a soda, and a beer is at Citizens Bank Park.
How the
Like,
fuck
Chapman
Blake?
worked on the slider.
So 2008 average fastball, four-seam fastball, 91.9 miles an hour.
Yeah.
That's
So
oh
long
wait,
ago.
that
2023.
that sounds ridiculous. I just
2023.
want to point that out.
94.
That sounds ridiculous. 91 miles an hour.
2023, the average is 94.2. It has gone up every year, or gone up or stayed at the previous year.
Yep.
That had a nice long run of around 93 miles an hour for about 3 or 4 years and before it went up.
Used to have to
Again,
choke up
so-
on the bat on guys that threw 95. Back like in the 90s. It's different.
These guys are throwing harder. It's a different game.
It is.
But yeah, I agree with you on the pitch clock and how quickly these guys are going to have to come back. And a guy like Garrett Cole, Paul Skeens, like these power pitchers are going to have to keep throwing these pitches. And it's not just the number of times; it's how quickly they got to throw it again. You know,
And then you think about it from a record perspective too. You think about Nolan Ryan and all the records that he set. I think that a lot of complete games shutouts, no one's going to touch those types of things now because that's where the game is headed now.
yeah. I think the only one that has a chance is the strikeout record.
Yep.
But even that's going to be a longevity thing, and these pitchers aren't sticking around for longevity. And I only think the total strikeouts because it's now onto the batters, and they're all talking about exit velos and trying and launch angles, trying to hit these home runs, and they don't care that they strike out anymore. So
right.
you're going to
Yeah.
get pitchers with more strikeouts, but you can't have pitchers sticking around either because they keep getting hurt. So
and
right.
you know, another reason the pitch clock was around was because of managers like Tony La Russa. He is the reason that all pitchers have to face a minimum of 3 batters. He's the reason for the pitch clock because games were going over 3 hours because he would use one pitcher for each at bat. And hey, listen, it is what it is. Was it ridiculous? Yeah, but that's if you're gonna go look back and figure out where is all this coming from? Like, why is there a pitch clock? Why does a pitcher have a 3-batter minimum? Well, it's because of the old school managers who are quote unquote ruining the game.
But also, too, batters are calling for timeouts. Pitchers are calling for timeouts.
No
The
more.
managers are calling for timeouts. And then how many times would some of these certain pitchers just look back over at first base and it's just like, well, we had 3 pickoff attempts over at first base and yet there's no pitch. Like that's like a minute and a half going by of just, fat on the bones. Just for
Think
that.
about-
too.
no Mar Garcia Parra
I was just
between
gonna say
every
no more.
single pitch.
No ma.
How many times? How tight can your gloves be?
I
Right.
mean, listen, I was at 2022. I was 5 of the NLCS when Bryce Harper hit the home run, and that last at bat, like he was stepped out of the box after every pitch, and he adjusted, and then this and that, and then it was. Think about you got to go back and look at the history and think like, would he have hit that home run?
I was
if the
going to
pitch
ask
clock
you
wasn't
that.
about?
Does he hit that home run?
That's the thing. Baseball is as much of a mental game as it is anything else. So he probably wouldn't have because he wasn't getting himself into the right mindset before that pitch. And these guys will tell you some of them just guess at pitches, other ones are thinking their way through it. I'm not sure what kind of hitter Harper is, if he's a guesser or a thinker, but you still got to reset yourself and get your mind right. Like, you know what, I got to be ready for this, and sometimes you need that little bit of extra time.
Buddy, let me
But
help you
again,
out
at
with
the
this
same time,
one.
I'm trying to speed the game up.
Yeah, buddy, let me help you out with this one. With Bryce Harper's stats, he ain't a guesser.
Well,
He could
So-
be. He just guesses right a lot.
Well,
It's an
dude-
educated guess. It's not like, oh, I think it's going to be a fastball
I
here.
don't-
No, he goes up and he knows the situation, and he tends to know. And he's like, okay, I'm probably going to get a fastball here, you know, or he goes up and he's like, this is the type of pitcher this is, so I can set on fastball, react to everything else. That's
But
a
also
guesser.
it's also a two-way street, though, because Robert Suarez is probably thinking to himself, well, what do I throw here?
Right.
And there's also that side of it, too. And I think personally it was less about Price guessing, and it was more so about putting pressure on Robert Suarez. Because, again, you said it before, it's also a mental game as well.
Right,
So-
and you got to figure out you go to that 7 pitch at bat, that 6 pitch at bat. He laid off that changeup, and I don't know how he did. Like it was, and
That was
as a
a
pit,
great play.
We all stood up and went, "Yo!"
Yes.
as a pitcher, you're like, son of a
Yep.
bitch. Like, what do I got to do to get this guy out? And
And
he
the funny
doesn't
thing is,
swing at
It
that.
was locked in.
That same pitch, if it goes the other way, it gets called a strike. He takes it and it gets called a strike. Now it's in his head. Like, where was that? Why didn't I swing at it? So that's the beauty I love of baseball is
I
that
think he was
mental
also
game of it.
I also think he was definitely trying to get into Bryce's head there with that pitch.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And I think he was like, "All right, dude, I'll challenge you because like I know what you like. I know you want this to hang here, and I'm just going to take it away from you." And I think that was the idea.
Yes.
And Bryce didn't blink at it, which is like, okay, that's a little nerve wracking when he doesn't even blink at it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just went down, bent over, touched the dirt again, and that's cold as shit when he does that. Like that,
Yes.
he's literally
Yeah.
saying, "This is mine. You can come for it. You can come right over here." And he literally shows them where he wants it every time, and he challenges them every time he does that.
Yeah, and
Kyle
like-
Schwarber had in that bat last year too during the Blue Jays game against Chad Green in that
Yep.
ninth inning where he was going for his third homer, and he put up the same type of at bat there. He was fouling off pitches, and then he laid
them
off
off.
that same type of changeup. And I was like, wow, he is really locked in, and then just took advantage of a hanger, and he knew that there was going to be a mistake there, and that was
That was a
thought,
quality
one of his
at bat.
best things.
Right, and then you go back to the mental part of the game, and you look back at the first 4 games of the playoffs for the Phillies. They beat the Reds, right? No, the Cardinals. They beat the Cardinals in 2 games. Then those first 2
Yes.
games, they split with the Braves, and Reese Hoskins was 0 for whatever. And then when you sit there and I don't care, they're still human beings, and when you get booed, it gets to your mind. And the Philly faithful didn't boo, and we all know what happened. Like the loudest pop, other than probably the winning the NL and Bryce's home run against the Padres. Like that was loud. Like, and you go back and you watch it, and you just watch. And the best is like when you watch the people behind the dugout who were like, not into it, and then it's gone. The bat spike, and then you go back and you look, and then Reese lived off that. Like, he had a really good rest of the series. He had a really good NLCS. He had that game 4 night where he had the 2-run double, and then he had the home run. He ended up having didn't have a good World Series, but he lived off that, and that's where the mental part of baseball comes in. Listen, the 5% of people who can play baseball in Major League Baseball, that's the 5% of people who are going to play in the majors, and then 95% of it is mental. Plain and simple.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
JJ, I want you to run us through what you've seen so far spring training, and what your thoughts are for the upcoming season. What have you liked coming out of the guys, what they're saying? Boa talks, Middleton has been talking, Dave has been going public during spring training. You know, it's like it's the pageantry of right now. So can you give us like if you're going to give us a report out of what the team's doing right now?
They're just ready to play. They really are. They're just ready for opening day, and they all know that this is a big year for them. They all know that they just did not get the job done last year. And they're on a mission, and I can definitely see a lot of hunger in a lot of their eyes when I'm watching them bat and when I'm watching them come up to the plate. Now, obviously, there have been the same types of mistakes in regards to chase and that type of stuff. But I also have looked at it from a pitching perspective, and I'm watching Jose Alvarado just strike out batters and throw these ridiculous pitches. Some of them are, sinkers that are over 100 miles per hour. And then I just see this ridiculous cutter that he has that kind of looks a little bit like a changeup at times. I don't know if that makes any sense. He just looks like he's really locked in. And I have overall, I'm at the point now where when I'm looking at Twitter and when I'm watching what everybody has been saying and when I'm looking at press conferences, I just think that they're all tired and that they're all ready. That they're just ready to go for opening day and that they just wanted to be here so badly. Unfortunately, the thing I love about spring training, and I didn't really get to cover it during the first couple of years on the channel, but I've always liked to see who's going to make the final spots, who's going to be battling for certain positions. And I've been a little bit disappointed with some of the with some of the prospects in regards to just the pitching side of things when we needed a fifth starter last year. And the whole Taiwan Walker thing happened. Okay, we all know the Spencer Turnbull story. Like, that was great. But I knew that as soon as Spencer ended up getting hurt and when they had to go to Taiwan Walker, they did not call up Mick Abel. They did not call up Griff McGarry. And I thought, uh-oh, this is a problem. Because clearly they don't see something. And clearly they're projects. And clearly they just don't have what it takes right now to put up high-quality innings.
I saw it more of as a dollar amount being a factor.
What'd you say? Sorry.
A dollar amount for Taiwan, rushing him back. I think we all agreed he didn't have enough prime time for him to be, because he missed obviously spring training and things like that. But I think that was just management going like, what did we do? We spent a lot of 180. Was that what it was?
Yeah,
180 for 6 years. Is that right?
Sounds right. I forget now for Taiwan. He was getting like 18, 19 a year.
Yeah, it was 4 years, 72 million.
Okay. Fuzz, you're muted. If you were gonna be there to correct me.
It's 4 years, 72 million.
So it was like, but I think it was like almost 20 million with like bonuses.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So I think that was just a money situation. We all kind of knew it with that, and I don't think it condemned the prospects as much, but it definitely condemned them to not having a shot.
Yes.
Yeah,
I didn't expect that the prospects were going to be able to fill in for his role. I was just shocked that they weren't called up. And I thought, well, that's a little bit odd to me because I've been hearing throughout the years and even just watching whenever the Blue Claws would play against the Blue Rocks, I saw Mick Abel throwing, and he looked like he was making a lot of progress down there, and they had him high up in their farm system. And same thing with Griff McGarry and some of the other talent that they had. We all knew that Andrew Piener was hurt. And so I just thought maybe they would call somebody else up to be able to fill in for Taiwan Walker when they clearly saw this guy can't be our fifth starter. But instead they went to Tyler Phillips. They tried Michael Mercado. And I was a little bit shocked about that. And so I think that this year in spring training, I finally got to see why they ended up going the direction that they did last year with that. If that makes
I think
sense.
Could it be too that they just want to get these guys more innings down there and get them more refined and not waste these options on bringing them up when
That's true.
you had guys that were up here
Solid.
that they thought could fill in okay when Walker went back down. You know, this year there's no excuse for Walker to ever be on this roster.
Yes.
I don't care how much money he makes. Like, dude has.
Yeah, while I agree with you, it doesn't explain guys like Tanner McKee by, you know what I mean, by the late end of last year. Like, why do we have Banks? Like, why do we have these guys? Like, why are these the guys we're giving? You picked them up at a
Tanner
flea
McKee?
market.
Did you say Tanner McKee?
He did.
It's the backup
third string
quarterback.
quarterback.
For the Eagles.
This guy loves backup quarterbacks too.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I was like, wait.
I have that thing where like it's one part of a person's name does name and it says the other thing.
I get it.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's not really talking about Taiwan Walker. He's talking about Larry Walker, the gold glove outfielder.
Tanner Banks. I'm sorry.
So
Yeah.
you know,
Who was the other one? Who was the other kid we at the same time? Like we had gotten him through like kind of like, and here I think it was one of those euchre moments where like and so and who the hell is we definitely had a
one goddamn hit. You can't say one. You can't say goddamn. No one's listening anyway. You know, the whole thing with the Taiwan Walker situation was handled so poorly, and it was such a misrepresentation of, you know, Middleton and how it's handled, because, you know, every time he went out, you were down 2-0. And I don't care how good of a baseball player you are. That hits you. It goes back to the mental part of the game. You know you're going to be down, and now you're going to have to press. You're going to have to hit a home run. You're going to have to try to do this. You're going to have to try to do that. I would cut Taiwan Walker right now to make a point to this team. Hey, listen, you're gone. The guy who wears overalls and has a great helmet for a 30-pack, he's in the minors. These are the moves that need to be made to show that this is a serious organization, because it was a disgrace. It cost them the number 1 seed last year. It absolutely cost them the number 1 seed. I'm not saying they would have got to the World Series, but you can't tell me it didn't cost them the number 1 seed.
I think that it played a factor into it, but also not being able to go after another bat, I think, was also another thing too, and being very complacent at the deadline. While I understood the philosophy behind it, you know, hey, we have a nice core of players that have been through the trenches before. We want to see what this talent can do, but I just thought, I don't know, really hindsight going back to the whole thing is, if I don't know if that would have gotten them over that hump, but I also do understand too, when I look at Lane Thomas, when I look at Jazz Chisholm Jr., they were actually able to help their teams respectively get deep into the playoffs because they changed the culture, or they didn't necessarily change the culture, but they added a new element, a new philosophy to their respective locker rooms, and more people were able to vibe off of that.
The best way I can say about the Chisholm move was, it was like he was a different tempo, but it still matched the beat of the song, and that's why it works so well. I'm very jealous by that. And you know, and no disrespect to what we did at the trade, that I know getting what was a kidney infection or
a laceration of the kidney.
Yeah, like what are we talking about? Like that's terrible and it sucks, and I get it, and woulda, coulda, shoulda. I also just, even the short amount of time that I did see him play with us, I don't feel like he didn't command that position either. You know?
Yeah. You want somebody to come in and take left field over and just be their spot.
Right.
And let Marsh and Rojas fight over center field, which should never have been a fight. It should have just been Marsh from the jump.
Marsh and center?
over Rojas.
He's
If
doing
you-
it.
if-
Rojas.
All
Maybe
right,
somebody
here we
already
go.
collabed.
Ding,
Here
ding,
we
ding,
go.
ding, 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 ding. All right,
Here
boys,
we
I
go.
want you to have a clean fight here. All right,
Boy.
so listen here.
So-
Here's the
so
rules. They're
I-
plain and simple.
So this is what we talked about backstage. This is what I told Keith, and this is what I told Jeremy. Everyone talks about the great routine, the great plays that Johan Rojas makes, because Johan Rojas reads a fly ball like Floyd Mayweather reads a book. He's absolutely terrible, but he's so goddamn fast, and he's got a good glove that he makes up for. He looks idiotic out there. He at times I'm like, am I watching him or Dubal Herrera? When Dubal Herrera is not committing domestic assault, like he's terrible, but he's fast and can make up for his idiotic plays. That's 063, and everyone loves him. We're not in the era where your number 9 hitter can hit 200 because everyone was like, oh, that's what the pitchers did. Well, we're in a new era. We're in the analytics era. He's got to hit 250, plain and simple. He's got to protect Schwarber. No, instead I got Keith Newman. I have a better shot of getting a hit than Johan. He can't lay a bunt down. He's the fastest player in one of the fastest player in leagues. He can't run a bunt. He can't place a bunt. Come on, man.
Runs like Mays, hits like shit.
So according to my notes here,
Does this say John C. Riley?
Oh wait, did I see that Kinger got cut?
he did. It still says Johan is less than Kingery, and we have given less time to better players than Johan Rojas. And that to me is a major concern. And I think that kind of goes in line with what Chris was saying. How serious can you take an organization? He's not your responsibility at this point. Like you're not Howie. You don't have to give someone 3 years to prove it. This is baseball. It moves quick, but it's also slow at 162. And slumping is slumping, but my man said it loud and proud. The man can't bunt.
So I have the
Okay,
Phillies stats up here. They have him listed as a DH, not even as an outfielder. There's nobody he's DHing for. Yeah.
Rojas?
On the
Really?
official Phillies website, it's under the player stats. It's Johan Rojas, who has 11 hits on the preseason, DH.
Does that mean he's the
Interesting.
donut helmet guy? I don't know.
Donato.
JJ says he's brought receipts. Let's
Okay.
give him the floor uninterrupted. And if it stinks,
Oh no! Oh no!
That's
It's
why I
okay.
mute it.
No,
That's why I mute
please
it.
stop me. Please stop me anytime. First and foremost, can you repeat this whole protecting Schwarber thing that you just said? I wrote that down for a second because I wanted to elaborate on that.
No, I'm just saying, like, you gotta, like, because when you go up there and you face Johan Rojas, you can throw 3 to 4 pitches out of the dirt, and he's gonna swing at them. That's and by protecting, I kind of like not that Kyle Schwarber needs protection, but it's always nice, because again, Kyle Schwarber, if you get a hitter up there that's can hit 270, 280, now you have to give him the fastballs that you didn't give to the guy in front of him. Now you have to throw Kyle Schwarber strikes, because I mean Kyle Schwarber is a beast. He's ridiculous. I hate the whole thing of taking him out of the leadoff spot. Like, they win for some reason. I can't explain it. It makes zero sense, their record. But don't mess with it. Don't mess with it. Like that's what I mean by protecting. Like make that pitcher have to throw better pitches to the number 9 hitter.
I wouldn't call that protecting him. I would just say supporting him.
No, because
I would say that too.
because then if you get that number 9 hitter, instead of a 3 or 4 pitch at bat, it's now a 6 to 7, 8 pitch at bat, and the arm gets tired. That's what.
But are you really
Still
protecting
support
him though?
Yeah, still support. Stop it. Listen,
See, I need a
the
guy
number
there
9
that's
hitter
really
should
on
not
base.
be protecting the
That's a lot of
all-star.
responsibility for a number
I want a
9
guy with a
hitter.
high on base percentage. That's what I want out of that 9 spot.
But
Right.
there,
OBP.
but there's,
That's fine.
but there,
Shut up.
but there's 9 batters in the lineup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Get on
not
base
8.
in front of a power hitter. That's what I want.
Who's the best number 9 hitter in all of baseball?
I'll look
I'm
it
just
up.
You'd have to
curious.
know who number 9 is, I guess.
Well, I guess that I don't even know who the Dodgers number 9 hitter but I guess probably the Dodgers number 9 hitter is the best.
Or the Guardians, maybe.
Maybe the Guardians.
Maybe the Guardians. Like yeah. So I'm with you on this one, JJ. I would never have thrown in that that Johan's Rojas' ultimate responsibility is to protect big old Kyle Schwarber, who runs like Fred Flintstones on the bases.
I haven't even gotten to any of my points yet. But honestly, just like that whole side of it, I was like, yeah, I don't know if
But the number 9 hitter is used to be the second leadoff hitter, and he's not that.
it's a different game though.
Now he's the second. He's supposed to be the quote unquote second leadoff hitter.
What?
He's supposed to face pitches.
No, I see what he's
supposed
saying.
to see more pitches.
You want the 9 hitter now is supposed to be the guy that turns over the lineup. It used to be the automatic out and a pitcher, but you saw it differently in the American League when they used their number 9 hitter to turn over. Their 8 and 9s were guys that were getting on base in front of the top 1 and 2 guys, so that's where they could drive in some runs.
It's a support position for sure.
Right.
It's not a protection position.
Oh,
it doesn't.
No,
but
I agree
Mike-
it's not a protection, but you got to get on base, is what it is.
Sure,
no,
It's not the auto out that it
agree
used
with
to
that.
be.
Michael Harris is is a good 250, 260, 270 hitter. He
That is
bats in the ninth spot, and he's got
He
a
is
high
good.
on base percentage.
He
That's
is a
kind of
good-
like it's kind of what I'm looking at. And that when I say protect, I mean I'm talking about like wearing the pitcher down, because on a hot August night, if you're facing your 9 hitter and it's Johan Rojas, you have a better chance of a 4-pitch at bat as opposed to a Michael Harris at bat. That's
to be
what I
fair-
mean.
But to be fair, it also really helps when you have Ronald Acuna Jr., Matt Olson, Ozzie Albies,
Yeah, but-
Austin Riley,
Okay,
Ozuna.
And
Like,
the
that's
and
a
the Phil-
stacked lineup.
and the Phillies have Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, Bryce
That's true.
Harper, Nick Castellanos when there's a tragedy happening. JT Real Muto.
Do you know about that, JJ? Like, are you aware of this meme?
Oh, of course. Like
Okay,
the Tom
all right,
Brennan,
good.
Of course. Absolutely.
like
We always say someone died. Like, if we get
There's a
notice that
high
someone
ball.
died in the morning, we are like, yo, Casty's gonna
anytime home run right on FanDuel. Right on FanDuel.
You got to get
And-
there.
And like Alec Bohm, Alec Bohm was great until he got hurt in August.
Sure.
But let's go back to the Johan Rojas and your notes and
Yeah, let's let him finish. I'm going on mute because we're not going to interrupt this fine gentleman.
Oh no, it's okay. It's totally fine. Never batted over 300. Well, if I remember correctly, when he was first called up and he played in his first season, batted 302, right? Isn't that technically correct? I think he batted 302. Now, did he play a full season that year? No. Did he play a full season last year? Yes. So technically, that's like a year and a half. That's a year and a half of baseball. And really, you could actually argue that it wasn't even a full year last year because he was sent down for I think it was 3 or 4 weeks. I can't remember off the top of my head. I didn't write that down. But here's something that I did write down from last year. So we talked about speed. Okay, we talked about those types of things. I'm not going to get you there. To say that he can't bunt, first and foremost, I don't understand why Rob Thompson just comes out casually during spring training and just says that we're not even going to work on bunting with Johan Rojas until the 3rd week of spring training, because I just think that just from a logical perspective, spring training is all about trying new things, right? So you're putting that guy at a disadvantage for not working on something that should be done during spring training and give us some more content to talk about, because that could be applied during the season and you're not giving him reps. And that's putting him at a disadvantage there. So I wanted to sort of bring up that point, not to defend Rob here or anything, because I'm not defending Rob, but I found that to be a little bit weird. The Phillies last year, actually, according to StatCast, were 29-10 when he scored a run last year. So think about that. That means that they only lost. Yeah, so they only lost 10 games. They were 19 games over 500 every time he scored a run. And if he would have gotten on base more, probably would have been able to win more games. I can understand that argument side of things too. But last year, yes, he struggled last year. Okay, there's no doubt about it. Okay, he could have had a better year last year. But to say that he should be off the team, I find that to be a little bit weird because this guy still does bring value and he's still only 24 years old. He's still a baby and he deserves to have some type of a shot. Is it really his fault that, Kyle Schwarber and Nick Castellanos and whoever is struggling at the time, is that really his fault? I don't really think so. So I know I don't understand. I'm not saying that you said that he should be cut from the team, but there are people out there that do believe that, and I find that to be a little bit weird. But during the fall league, or during in the Dominican Winter League, this guy got to play with some professional players like Jose Siri, Camilo Doval, Luis Garcia Jr., Jorge Bonifacio. These guys might not be like the most well-known baseball names that are out there, but they're still not bad. They're still pretty good. But against those caliber players, he was 20 for 95 at the plate. He stole 23 bases. I'd say that's pretty good. I don't think that he played necessarily a lot of games, but he certainly, to me, looks like he's hitting more for contact in spring training, and I think that he's sort of getting a better feel for things at the plate. But that's just me when I'm watching with my eyes. But I just can't stand that there are some people are just writing him off right now like he's Roman Quinn. Like he's just 24 years old. And I think that for some people that were on the whole Taijuan Walker, after one bad start, he needs to be cut, he needs to be let go of. Sometimes you just gotta wait and see how things turn out, whatever. And if it doesn't work, you gotta give it a little bit of time. And I just don't understand that. And I don't think that Rob is doing the right thing by not having him bunt earlier in spring training, just to have him improve and have him work on deficiencies in his game, because there are clear deficiencies. I'm not saying that at all. But to say that he should be cut, I think that that's an extreme. To say that he's going to be a phenomenal ball player, and to say that we can't get rid of, another very good defensive center fielder, that's another extreme too.
So he batted 20 for 95 in the fall league or the winter league. I mean,
yep.
I mean, are we? And he had the 23 stolen bases, which is great. But
sure.
I mean, are we really, cheering on batting 210? I don't know what the batting averages was for the rest of the team. So he might have been one of the better ones. He was definitely one of the faster ones.
Sure.
So
absolutely.
Why is it? So why isn't?
Well, 20 for 30, I think is 295. 28 for 95. So that's over a 290 average. That's pretty good.
Is it? I thought it was 210. I could be wrong.
No, that's higher. 28 for 95. Let me do the math. Hold up. Let me go to the calculator. 28 divided by 95.
Oh, you said 28.
Yeah, 295.
Oh, I thought you said 20.
No. 28.
Oh,
28 for 95.
Okay, wait. So you bet at 295. I'm like 20, but I thought you said 20. I'm like 20 by 95 is 210.
Yeah.
295.
295.
Okay.
Just like
right,
295.
All right. Oh God. So all right. So 295 bat. Now, will that translate into into this season?
I don't know.
I hope so. I hope.
Sure.
Listen. We always sit there and say for months and months and months, with the exception of Keith, I've written to Castellanos, and I'm not against this guy. I want him to succeed. I want him to help his team win.
Yes.
And the boldface say cut Johan Rojas, that might be the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I didn't
Yes.
say it. I said cut Taiwan Walker
Yes.
because
That's-
it has the Taiwan
We've
Walker
seen it. We've seen
it-
it.
it's now gone from 24 into 25. I
Correct.
think he's got a 6.92 ERA. I think I saw
Yes.
today on Twitter.
Yes.
Like I don't need that. I don't
No.
need that kind of negativity in my life. I drink enough as it is. I don't feel like drinking and aging watching Taiwan Walker pitch. Like I don't.
He's
Like,
rough.
look-
He is rough because you know at any moment it's going to go wrong. You do rapidly age while you are watching him pitch. He is aggravating because he is single-handedly wrecking the game for you.
He's Tobias Harris of the Phillies.
Mhm.
No, he is Paul George. Of the
Paul
Phillies
George. I
because
was just about to go one.
Tobias Harris is balling in Detroit. Paul George is
Yeah,
making me
right,
miss
I
Tobias
really
Harris.
understand that now.
Like-
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
think
Right.
about that. Paul George is making me miss Tobias Harris. So, and that's like, so then it goes down to like, I just don't know how this organization sees Johan Rojas because, you know, Brandon Marsh was a Gold Glove finalist last year. Now you have Max
he was.
Kepler. Like,
Yep.
what are we doing here? Like, who's gonna be who's gonna be the utility? Like, who's gonna come in and out? I can't think of the word. I don't know why.
Right.
Sosa.
Sosa.
No, not
So
that.
this is your infield platoon guy.
No. Platoon.
Right.
There's the
Usually
word.
in the outfield.
There's the word. Platoon. Who's going to
Do it.
platoon the outfield? Are we giving it to Max Kepler? And then are we platooning, you know, Marsh and what's his name?
Rojas.
Rojas. Are we platooning them? Are we putting Marsh in left? Like it's
West
I don't
Coast
know if
too.
they I don't know. Like I don't know. Like and it's
I think
frustrating.
I would say I think that's the problem with that Phillies fans have right now is that there's no clear path of what they're expecting out of Rojas, and I think seeing the sharp decline. Granted, it was only year over year, and he played double the amount of games, almost double.
triple.
But
Crazy.
59 versus 120, but he dropped 60 points off his batting average.
but
So I
I
think
also
that's what concerns people is that he gets more opportunity and does worse.
right,
Like,
and that so that's
what do
and
we
that's
see?
and that's kind of like what your perfect segue into that is. You see Brandon Marsh struggle against left-handed pitchers,
Yes.
but yet somehow he gets benched. Not benched, but you know, certain games you're like, oh, Marsh is going to be doing this, but then you see Rojas, who looks atrocious against any pitcher at times, and he doesn't get benched.
He's pretty terrible against lefties
It's a
too.
162, and when he's struggling, he's not getting benched.
Yeah.
Like it's, and I think that's where
Yes.
Phillies fans like get, you know, you pick one. Like if you're gonna ride with Rojas, ride with Rojas. Leave him in there for 144 games.
I'm
If you're gonna
sorry.
ride with Marsh.
I just
Leave
pulled up
him in
batting
there
splits.
144 games.
Your batting splits actually aren't that bad. You know, I
For
don't want to
Rojas?
throw for Rojas. I don't want to throw any misconceptions here on him. He's bad either way. But
Not
you know,
really.
it's a
And
212
He
against
hit
lefties
302.
and a 255 against
Against righties.
righties. I mean, what are we talking about here? Like it's a slightly less 30. I don't what?
Look. My whole thing about Rojas is that I think that we need to keep a leash on him. I do. I think that he should be in the mix of this whole outfield thing, but I'm giving him. I said on stream that I would give him until June to try to see if we can figure it out. I think that that's enough time. I mean, he's hitting better in spring training, and he did good in the Arizona Fall League, or sorry, in the Winter League. But I just don't see why cutting him or just having him come off the bench now is a good idea right now, unless we go out there and we get a definitive outfielder. Like if we would have gotten a Kyle Tucker or whatever, then of course, you know, like that's our everyday fielder. But we don't have anybody else. That's the problem. That's the issue that I have.
I'm okay with Kepler and Marsh every daying it over this platooning idea of the outfield it's kind of weird to me. I don't know why we think we have to do that. We got
We
guys
did with
coming.
Stott last year too. Yeah.
Yeah, I just to me the whole concept of it is just odd. Why they think they need to carry that? I would prefer to carry more pitchers in position, or maybe another utility out infielder.
Sure. Yeah. And then people were talking about, well, the whole idea of putting Trey Turner in the outfield. Trey is never going to play the outfield. Like, come on.
He shouldn't. He's an amazing shortstop.
Isn't amazing?
Like, what are we talking about? Like, if you
That only
look at,
took 162 game change.
I hate the fact that
There was
people.
one of us here that brought that up last spring training. We'll give you a hint on who it was. If you're looking at the screen, they're directly below you.
Yeah, but unlike other people, I'm always willing. People are now, see, it's funny. People are going the opposite direction now. Okay. So when I suggested that a year ago, no one was talking about that. Now everyone's like, put Trey in the outfield. I'm like, absolutely not.
No.
What are you talking about? He's like one of best in position for fielding. Oh no, he messes up a lot. Okay, watch other shortstops.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm a Pirates fan. I was mad when they put O'Neal Cruz into the outfield.
Yeah, I remember
And
that.
they're like, oh, he's
then
throwing
there's
because there's
Tatis.
so many errors. I'm like, yeah, I mean, he's tearing it up out there, but it's also because he can throw 300 miles an hour.
Yes.
But it's like, why are we giving up on this guy as a shortstop?
Yep.
Well, that's like, listen. Fernando Tatis came up to the Padres as a shortstop, and the whole thing with, the argument with Trey Turner at shortstop. I'm pretty sure went the entire season, and then once the season was over, I pulled up the stats and the handling, and the errors that were committed by all the shortstops, and it was right there in black and white, and it may have taken the 2024 season, but it was. It was the Keith Newman, like, yes, we're going to put Trey Turner in the outfield, and we're going to put in Mendoza at shortstop. There's a reason Armando Sosa is a utility player. And then people were like, well, maybe you put Bryson Stott at second base. Bryson Stott played so bad at shortstop that he became a Gold Glove finalist for second baseman. That's how bad he was at shortstop.
It's wild. It's insane. I'm just ready for opening day at this point. Now that Garrett Stubbs is not,
I'm so happy
anymore.
I'm so happy. You have no idea. I'm so happy. I have a question for you.
Go for it.
Should MLB opening day be a national holiday?
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me? Oh, yes. Absolutely, it should be. Yeah. NFL, I was saying the same thing about the NFL. They start on Sunday. Why play baseball that day? I'm sorry. Like, I'm watching NFL on Sunday if I can. Obviously, like, that's just like the fan in me. Like, of course, if there's a baseball game on, I'll watch it. But it should be the same exact thing for Major League Baseball. It's a holiday. Oh yes.
So, 2 questions for you then.
Go for it.
One, should the Reds still be playing the first game of the season for Major League Baseball? And then 2, what do you think about this Japan series where they play 2 regular season games and then go back to spring training?
Should the Reds be playing on opening day? What time are the Reds on?
I don't know. I'm just asking because of the tradition of it, that because they were considered the first professional baseball team, coming from the Cincinnati Red Stockings, that they should be traditionally just be the first game. Like, they get a 1:00 game, everybody else gets a 3:00, 7:00, whatever.
Sure, yeah. Like, why not? I mean, if the NFL is going to have Detroit play on Thanksgiving and have that still be a tradition and that type of a thing, then sure, there's a history behind it, and I think that that's kind of cool. But I also understand. I don't know. I think it's fine I don't really know if that would change like MLB ratings or whatever, if that how that would impact it. I will say that watching Nelly De La Cruz is pretty special.
No one cares about the Reds.
But
I'll
I
say it.
mean,
I'll say it. No one cares about the Reds. I was like,
hey,
what is he? That's what I was sitting there. I was like, what is he talking about?
hey,
Yeah,
hey,
I agree with this one, Scott. Scott says MLB should have the opening round free on TV to promote the game.
I do agree with that.
And that's like they were like they're like the I think we were talking last week, and they're like, yeah, the regular season or the other nights or regular season start. I'm like, it's March 27th. They're like, no, they're in Tokyo. I'm like, what?
I
And then because like they come back and play spring training,
right.
I'm like, no. I was like, I didn't believe them, and then I had to look it up, and I'm like,
Yes.
this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Now that part I don't like about it. I think that if you start off the regular season, why go back to spring training? I think that that's ridiculous, personally.
Yep.
But I like the idea of opening Major League Baseball early and doing it in another stadium. I think that that's really cool. Bringing in an international audience is really nice. There's a money marker to it. The series itself out in Japan, I think, was actually really special, and just to be able to see them go crazy for Shohei Ohtani, it was really special, and it was really unique. And from a cultural perspective, I love that. I do. The timing of it, though, is a little bit weird, just because okay, now we're gonna send Chicago back to the States, and they got to play. Oh, by the way, they got to play a game on Friday. They got to play tomorrow, and so don't care about the jet lag. Don't care about any of that. You're playing tomorrow, which I think is a little bit weird, and it puts
And
them at a disadvantage.
So
my other issue with it was the timing of the games. It was
Sure.
6 a.m. on a Wednesday
Yes.
and 6 a.m. on a Monday.
Yeah.
I barely remembered when I woke up and the news is like, oh yeah, Major League Baseball started today. I'm like, oh yeah.
It's after St.
If you're
Patty's
going to
Day,
be
too.
doing these, right? If you're going to do these games to open it up, do it on the weekend.
agree.
When you might have a little better luck getting the younger generation up and get people up to watch the
Now-
games, because
and-
it was on for 5 seconds while I got dressed and left. So
And-
I definitely didn't watch those games at that time of day.
I mean,
And-
6 a.m. period is definitely a commitment, regardless if it's the weekend or even during the weekday. Sure, during the weekday, you get up for work and whatever, and you get your coffee, or like you go on the school bus, even for the kids. All right, interesting, but you're not like fully watching those games.
They should do like 7 continents at a time. Baseball
Sure.
on opening day, and I know Antarctica is nuts, but I get it. You can make that a thing, right? Build a look. If Metallica can do a concert there, you can have just something like a. I think they did. I think they're like the first like band to ever or only band to ever tour on all 7 continents. Like, I just think you should be like, it should be firing off. Maybe not all. It would be cool if they were all first pitches at the same time, but that is unfeasible. But if you kind of have like a rolling start of games through,
Sure.
like, at this time zone opens up and this time zone opens up and this game just ended and this time zone's going to open up. I think if you had signed kind of something like that, it's like baseball sweeping the nation would be really cool for baseball. Right now, I don't think they are a very successful at their marketing of individual players. I think they are
That's what I
getting
was
better with a marketing of a product. Better
Yes.
like with at least with the Europe stuff, the international stuff that's starting to happen. I would like to see more World Baseball Classic stuff. But they are very poor on kind of getting this like world games out.
So two different things. So, definitely Rodney Pete being on TV catching a foul ball was not on my bingo calendar for the opening season. And
That was crazy.
you kind of gotta, Dodgers Cubs. No one cares about Dodgers Cubs, but the Dodgers have Ohtani, and the Cubs have Suzuki.
Yes.
And they showed him in the batting cages with a samurai sword. That's why it was there. But there was no promotion of it. And that's where I think it lags in the eastern part of the United States or the western part of the United States and the West Coast, because there's no promotion. Like, Mike Trout's the biggest star in the game, and you rarely see him.
But also, and I didn't even know this because somebody asked me on my channel, well, why are they playing now? And I realized it was also I think it was the 40th anniversary of the Tokyo Dome being built on that day. So
Did not know that.
I didn't know that either, but I was looking to see when the dome was built, and it just so happened to be that day. And I was like, yeah, I don't think that's a coincidence. I don't think Major League Baseball would just be like, yeah, we're
Right.
We're just gonna do this. And it just so happens that it just
right. They're not that good at marketing. So I got a question for you. So
Isn't that the house that Ichiro built?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So
Yes.
you stream? Do you stream football games? Like.
Yep.
So did you stream a lot of the Eagles games?
I did a lot of the Eagles games.
So I think in our chat, I think you need to post a video of yourself with the Saquon hurdle, because like, what was going through your mind? Like,
At first, I was just like going through. I was just sometimes when it comes to football, it's like things just happen really quickly when the play is going on. And so you're looking at the lineman, you're looking at obviously Jalen, what he's going to do with the ball, and then your eyes are just suddenly focused on Saquon, and just pops up a whole reverse hurdle. And I didn't know in the moment how to term that because it sort of caught me off guard. And I was like, how the heck do I even phrase this? And I'm like doing it in the back of my mind. And I don't remember the specific call there, but it was
Holy shit! He just jumped over that man.
Yes, and he did it, and he did a reverse hurdle.
I'm like, he just jumped a grown man up. He just hurdled a grown man ass backwards.
That was one of the craziest sports things I've ever seen. I did not get to watch Willie make the catch. I didn't get to watch like certain things, Bo Jackson climbing up a wall just to make like a Spider-Man type of a catch, but to be able to see that live, was that special?
That was.
And listen, Keith says it all the time. Madden had to go in and add that play. He says it all the time. That's how great that play was.
It was
Mid-year. It wasn't like they even waited till the next season. It was out after the weekend. On Monday, it was announced that they would be releasing it on Tuesday, and they updated a patch to Madden 25 to include the Saquon hurdle.
I think that was easily the play of the season when we think about.
Oh no, sir! It was a Hail Mary, of course.
It was a Hail Mary. It was and not to diminish this, but as much as I loved Cooper's pick 6 on his birthday, that was awesome. Nothing tops off Saquon.
No, nothing will top Saquon's hurdle.
Nothing at all.
I do understand the argument that the Hail Mary that did win the Play of the Year was a game-defining moment in terms of, the outcome of the game, which is true.
Sure.
It turned both franchises. One went on like a really long winning streak, and the other did not win until the end of the season.
Yep.
Yeah, and like I do understand the importance of that actual play, but to lay that much importance on a free for all, like basically that you would do in a schoolyard and just a toss up, is kind of like really like downplaying the fact that Saquon Barkley turned his body into a jet engine, and he had to have turned it into a jet engine because you need that much thrust to get those thighs off of the ground. But he was like, no problem, just gonna jump. Did so.
He's gonna jump.
Did so, but said, you know what? Wait. This isn't cool enough. What if I did a 180 in the air? That would be cool.
You can't do that in Mario Brothers 3, so I don't know why you think you can do it in life.
There was no and he was like, yeah, I wasn't really thinking. No shit, you weren't thinking about it.
JJ Redick had a podcast that he did. It was with LeBron James called "The Mind in the Game with LeBron." If there was ever a podcast where Saquon just had something like that and just can, vividly just talk about like what was going on in his head, I think that would be so entertaining. I would love to pick his brain about that. I really would.
Scott, I'm just going to keep reiterating. MLB has a very bad
Marketing
team. They're just not good at it. I get it was hard to market Mike Trout when you had him. His personality doesn't. He's not exactly the Bryce Harper of personalities. So
doesn't have a lot of endorsements.
Right. I get it. I do get it. People like Mal's. They like the Bowers and the people doing those things.
Sure.
Yep. They may need you, sir. Good evening, Mr. Driscoll. Yeah. So we could do this for probably like another hour and a half, but we usually keep ourselves to about 90 minutes.
Sure.
Before we wrap up, I want you to plug all the things and kind of just give us a we do our big predictions in our first show for the season. I think I may have shared them with you at some point, but here you go. I will do them in the order that we gave them, and maybe you'll just this is what I want you to do. I want you to plug the socials and then comment on what we're about to say. This was our 3 predictions for the season. Go JV, you were up first.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Oh wow, I do.
That's good. I'm glad you wrote it down. I meant to write it down and I just forgot. And
Fuzzy, do you remember yours?
mine was something about Aaron Nola. I remember that.
17
wins.
17 plus win season.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Okay, Fuzz, do you remember yours?
I remember mine.
Okay,
but you
great.
go to yours.
Then I will go to mine. I'm just checking you. Okay, that's all. I said 102 plus win season.
Oof.
Now, JJ,
That is a hot take.
Now, no, a hot take is Bryson Stott hitting 30 home runs. No.
Yeah,
So-
I guess that's a hot take.
Yeah. So what I'm about to say is if JV's thing happens and my prediction happens, it's equal to the Keith prediction. I have Alec Bohm at 30 plus home runs, and I want to say 120 RBIs.
No, 118 plus.
Okay, 118 plus. Dude was an RBI machine before he got hurt.
He was.
So
He was. Okay, I'm making sure that I know all these things.
Yeah, hold on. If you need us to, I do want to double check that I did have that here on the notes. I may have ripped that up, but because you said something really stupid, JV, and maybe you made me mad.
no.
But this,
I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah, that's it. Let's just if we're wrong, I'll come back and I'll tell you. But I'm pretty certain it's
No, that was right. 17 plus.
It's 17 wins.
yeah.
I wasn't sure on the RBIs, but I thought it was 118 plus.
It's like 115, 118. I'm not going to argue over 3.
Okay.
I will.
JJ, plug the JJ.
Yes.
Do me a favor.
Yes.
Plug all the socials first. You got your your commercial here. We're gonna plug you all the time, and I'm still a JJ Holic. I'll be in the community, but plug us all your socials and tell us how stupid we are for these predictions.
Okay. First and foremost, obviously, thank you so much for having me on here. I definitely bring off Leo vibes for sure, but I had a lot of fun for sure. And if you guys ever need somebody else to help you chop up baseball during the season, I got you. Anytime, any place, I will definitely 1000% show up. Don't even hesitate. Don't even hesitate, because even sometimes there are people. It's not even just you, but there are other people that are like, oh, like you're too busy to do this. Oh no, I'm gonna find a way to make time for sure, because I care.
That is good, because I am actually in talks right now on LinkedIn on getting Wes Chamberlain on the show.
Ooh, wow, that's awesome. I love that. As far as the socials go, play by play with JJ over on YouTube. Just type that in. It's also PBP with JJ _76 on TikTok and on Instagram as well. We are all over there. And then it is PBP with JJ _76 exclamation point on Twitch. I have to fact check that. But yes, we are on Twitch, we are on TikTok, and we are on X and Instagram as well. It's pretty much the same underscores.
You also have your Discord. That's a really fun community too.
Oh yes, Discord is great too. I
Yeah.
am going to try to get more active on the Discord scene this year, and I'm excited about that for sure. So it's also the same underscore. Actually, sorry, it's Jason _86. I'm pretty sure on Discord. I should write these things down. And
Probably.
that's going to be something that I'm going to do for the next time after this.
Put a
But I think I got it all right.
post a note up.
Yes, for sure. Anyhow, but yes, you can go follow me on all the socials that are out there. Aaron Nola, 17 plus wins. I actually will one up you here. I think that Aaron Nola is not only going to get 17 wins, I think that he's also going to. I think that he low key is going to finish top 3 in the Cy Young.
Cy
Award.
Young. Cy Young.
Cy Young. Cy Young.
Oh wow.
I was contemplating
three.
going with the Cy Young part of that prediction.
Did you mean that?
Did
Did
it,
you?
but I stuck with just the wins.
Did you mean Dimitri Young instead of Cy Young?
I could have said Chris Young, former pitcher,
Junior and
Chris Young.
senior. Yeah.
But yes,
All
nah,
right.
I think.
I mean, listen, if he's got over 17 wins, there's no reason for him not to be in the Cy Young.
I know, but
Well,
it made it
Taijuan
more
Walker
real.
Had 18 wins a couple of years ago, and I don't think anybody wanted him in the Cy Young award. So I had to check you there. But no, I really do think that Aaron Nola is going to have a great year this year. I'm watching that knuckle curve that he throws, and that thing is one of the most disgusting pitches I've ever seen in my entire life. And there's a guy that doesn't have to throw 100 at all whatsoever, and he can just use that out pitch and just get batters out. It's
Right.
ridiculous.
He's also got to make sure his cutter isn't cutting across to the middle of the plate.
That's true. That's true. But I do think that is actually a very good take right there. Darth,
Wait,
Dark.
hold on.
go for it.
Good take in JV. It just doesn't happen.
Well, it happened today. There's a
Yes.
first time for everything.
That's 2
There
this
is.
week.
That's
That's
two.
2 this week.
That's two. Darth, I pray to God that you are correct. You have no idea how much I would love it if this team could even get 100 wins. I would love that so much. 102? I was doing this during the rain delay when they played against the Yankees in their very first spring training game. And I think I was a little bit low. I was trying to actually do every single series. I was going series by series, and I projected them to be at 92. I actually had them at 88, which I was like, oh no, they're probably just going to miss the playoffs if they do that. But for today, I think that they're a 94 win team. The issue that I have with the 100 is that sure, some days the bats aren't going to be great and the pitching is going to have to carry them. And other days it's going to have to be the opposite. But 102, for them to be able to get 100, I don't know. I don't see that happening. They got 95 last year. I
Yep.
think that they got 92 the year before.
Here's my
So,
here's
why
my
7-1?
here's my rationale, just so you
Okay.
know where I
No,
came
no.
from.
Yeah. I want to hear.
Okay,
Wanna hear.
95 last year. I could count on hands and toes how many games actually could have gone the other way if run support was there at all 4 pitchers throwing gems, giving up maybe one run, 2 runs. And that was the math I did. So I looked at last year right? I counted up how many games we gave up in that margin within like that specificity. And then I said, okay, if we can convert half of them, we're sitting at 105. And that's the confidence I have going in the season that the pitching staff and the batters will be on. Now, you know, and I know every season there's 10 games that they get trashed and 10 games that they trash someone. That's just going to be
Sure. Absolutely.
it's going to be wild. That's just
One game
happens.
against the Mets last year.
Right. So, but I am saying outside of that 162, take away 20 games for trashing and getting trashed, that leaves you with roughly 140. I said we can be a 66% win team with that, and I stand by that.
You really are a math guy. I like that. I like that. It's good. It's good. I think mathematically speaking, I could see it happening. Eye test wise, I would be ecstatic if we got 100 wins. I think that more reasonable would be 95 for
I
us.
also know it's a feat, and I love my boys, so you know that is. But I also I did use the math to justify in a positive growth mindset that if there is 20 games that I can actually, it was really 20. It was 20. Hold on. 22 games. One was questionable because I think it was the 7th inning, Taiwan Walker was relief and he wide opened it. So that one to me was like kind of like a weird thing, and it was beyond the control of the starting pitcher. And so I said, let's go even with 22. So take 11 games in the upward direction. Just take half of those that go the other way, and you're sitting at 105, 106 wins.
Sure. I think anything is possible, but
it's gross. I know.
I don't from a logical perspective. You also have to remember too, like they play in a tough division. So they play those teams like the Braves and the Mets specifically. They play them more than just twice, so that's also
not anymore, man.
Oh, that's
not anymore with this. Everyone plays everyone.
Yeah. Well, yes, no, like they play, but
it's a minimum. It's always 3 series. It's always 3. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And it's two for other NL and
correct
1 for ALs. So, yeah, I am with you. I hear you.
Yes.
I know it's an achievement, and I'm very well aware of it. But I did try to fall. I try to not make it unrealistic. That's all.
No. I understand, and I appreciate you explaining to me your whole rationale behind it. I would be happy if they get 95 again this year.
Yeah,
and I think that would be a good year. I also don't know if the other thing about the 102 as well is sure injuries play a factor into it, but also do you think that the mindset has sort of changed after they won the division last year? Is my other question.
I want to think that the front office has helped move the needle. They have talked more seriously about being an organization of tactic. So I feel like that is its own mindset when you start talking about the strategy of winning.
Yes.
Especially over 162. So, yes, I think there is the possibility for that mindset. I don't know. I mean, spring training, bro. It's beautiful down in Florida. Everyone's kind of enjoying each other.
Yes.
It's been 6 months since they've all seen each other. They're still shooting the shit with one another.
I'm just ready for them to come back to Philly. I'm just so ready. But no, that makes sense. And then the whole thing about, if A plus B happens, right? Alec Bohm getting 30 homers and 118 RBI, 115 RBI, I'll say. If Kyle Schwarber's batting in the cleanup spot, if he's not batting in the leadoff spot, that changes a lot of things for Alec Bohm. Because I still think that he will, yes, be producing runs, but will he be producing as many runs as he could if Kyle Schwarber wasn't leading off. If that's, I don't know if that question makes sense, but I hope it does.
Yeah, and it's a very unknown at this point. I think that's a really good point. I think it's a good place to kind of to leave it off. Like, I think we want to revisit these, see like where we're at mid-season, if they're back on track. If we can't get you in before then, let's try and at least make a date for. Let's promise each other we have to do it before All-Star break. How's that sound?
I'll be here.
Beautiful. I just wanted to show everyone your page before you go. It is the journey to 5K, as everyone can see. He is very close. I will be on the live stream when that does occur. But listen, he's got almost. We're not just. He covered a lot of things. If you go to his live, you will see all of the shows he does. One day ago. He had a long one day ago. Actually, a long 48 hours. I feel like.
Yeah.
But you also even have a membership, and you have member pods only.
Yep.
I know you do call-ins and you do like guests, and you have your community call-in. So, guys, if you're watching this, and I'm gonna turn this into a nice little commercial for you. If you're not subscribed to Play by Play with JJ, you're doing the internet wrong.
And hey, if you're not subscribed to the Broken Bell Network, that is even more wrong. And that's really the truth. I 1000% mean that.
We do appreciate you. You're open invite. Welcome to anytime. Don't make us have to keep asking you. Just ask when you can get on if you want to do it and shoot the shit.
Absolutely.
Chris, JV, got anything for us?
Thanks for coming on. We appreciate your time and your expertise.
I appreciate it very much. This definitely made my week for sure.
Very, very nice. Chris, can you take us out with that awesome video? You're the best. I don't care what JV said about you.
Our opening video.
Only the truth.
I hate you both.